Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Today on Tallidus Plays, we're starting a playthrough of Rimworld. And we're not doing an ordinary Rimworld playthrough, we are trying the Rich Explorer playthrough. If you're not familiar, generally in Rimworld you'll start with either 3 space crash survivors or 5 tribal colonists. But in this instance, we are a single explorer being dropped from space. And the implication is that we've come here voluntarily. We aren't crashing. We are just landing on this rim world after decades-long cryosleep. We've already picked our starting tile here. It's a year-round sort of temperate forest location with some caves, a little bit of flora and fauna. We've got some geysers around here. But otherwise, we are at the mercy of the elements. Alright, so we will come out of our pod. And right away we see chambers here. I'll be using spacebar to pause this quite frequently because I've never tried this particular challenge before, so we'll need to get ourselves situated. Again, we have notes on brewing. We got some packaged survival meals, components, anise, which is, or anise, we'll call her anise, our Yorkshire Terrier, so that is our pet. And of course a charge rifle, which we will equip pretty soon here. Let me see. I don't think I have any other gear on, just my synth thread, pants, and shirt. So we'll equip the charge rifle. Also, we will allow, again, the name of our survivor is Earl Chambers. 32-year-old male. And not the worst stats. A little too smart for his own good. Nice and social, a little artistic. Decent with plants, very good at mining, and not too bad with shooting either. So that's my starting soul explorer here. Again, there are some other social members of the tribe that he might come into contact with as we play. But for now, he is just going to equip that charge rifle. And we need to start building the basics of survival here. We already have wood. So what I'll do for the start is set a stockpile zone, and we're actually just going to make this the stockpile zone itself, this whole square right here. That way all of our items are already inside the zone, and therefore accessible to Earl here. I do like this geyser being right there, because we'll use that for geothermal power in the not-too-distant future. Again, my plan is to stay on this map. We have some insectoids over here we might have to fight at some point, but I'll figure that out. Luckily, it looks like the water is kind of fencing them in, and there's a little bit of a blockage there. So I think we got lucky on that front. Otherwise, there are a few more insectoids over here. We have a hive, a lot of buffalo. But otherwise, we're looking pretty good. First thing we need to do is set up our priorities. So I always go to manual priorities. Again, for Earl here, I'm going to leave them all the same because he's going to be controlled by us 100% of the time. First thing we want to do is build his bedroom. So I'm going to go right into it here. We'll build a nice little medium-sized bedroom. Again, I'm going to click the fertility overlay here. We want to build our farm on these nice dark green fertile patches. And we could probably build his house on these completely non-fertile patches there. Also keep in mind your mountain overlay here. So this is the visibility of terrain affordance. As you can see here, this shows a few items for the mountain. We also want to see our roofs. So let me actually click off of the mountain. And then here you can see visibility of roofs. So anything that is too far interior runs the risk of being exposed to insect sort of outbreaks. So keep that in mind. But again, for now, I'm just going to build him a simple little hut right here. Again, we'll get more complex as we go, but let's see, we'll get this situated. I'll leave a one tile gap there so you can walk through. But we'll make this a nice little size. 8 by, I'm thinking 5 should be good. Give it a door facing our Stockpile and some floors. Where do the floors go? There we are. Floor, wood floor. All right. And again, pretty basic, but that's all we want to focus on. Oh, let's get my bed as well. Furniture and bed. We'll pop this in the corner. Torch lamp. Again, that'll provide light and a little bit of heat, but not much. Again, we start in the spring, so temperatures aren't that bad. And let's see. He's going to go ahead and start hauling that wood over. That's part of the reason that I set the stockpile zone just on top of all of our resources so we can immediately start building. Because again, we want to try to have a basic bedroom set up by the first night. It's just a lot better for him to sleep on bed than on the ground. Alright. And again, I might not have enough wood, so we are going to go ahead and set up a work order to cut plants and we'll chop down. Oh, you know what? No, we don't want to do it. We'll harvest. Chop wood, sorry. Chop wood. Inspired trade. Excellent. So this next trade deal, he'll get a nice trade price bonus. That's actually going to really help us out, because we will be doing a lot of trade in the early game with Earl here. Again, I would normally set a zone for animals, but for Annie here, we'll let her kind of free roam, because the Yorkie's not going to do too much damage to the base. Larger creatures like Muffalo, I will set a sort of a zone for them to be relegated to, just so they don't eat all of our stuff. We have a turtle here. I might be able to tame that. No, he's not able to. Okay, so we'll leave that for now. Again, while he's building this, we'll go ahead and look around the map at some of our options. We've got a big old ancient Warwalker torso, so that's cool. I believe we can attack that to destroy it. I don't know if it gives us anything. Ancient pipeline section, we can actually deconstruct that to get resources. Over here we got a bunch of, looks like this is part of an old ancient base. Refrigerator, operating table, things of that nature, so that's also useful. Again, we can claim that and sort of deconstruct it for our purposes. Got some horses over here. What else do we have? More fertile ground, all these Muffalo. Again, we have a nice separation going on. The access to the map, frankly, is only really this little bottleneck area and this side. Everything else is covered up by mountains, which is actually great for our single survivor setup, because if we have anybody coming in from this entire side of the map, they will have to go through this little bottleneck. And then obviously anybody comes in from this side, we can kind of funnel them into this area itself. So we could really do just a couple walls, like one here, maybe one here and here. We can create sort of a bit of a kill zone. So that's where we'll put our initial kill box, as it were. Again, the Rich Explorer does start with a little bit more. We get gold, we have 2,000 silver, and of course we have the charge rifle, and some of our fancy Glitterworld medicine. 30 Glitterworld medicine. So you get a little bit more at the very, very beginning, because again, you're going to have to survive solo, at least until we can convince somebody to join our colony. That is a part of the reason when I set the game up, I made sure to give Earl here some decent social skills. He's got 7 in social, and the only expansion that we're playing with is ideology. So he actually does have a very basic ideology going here. Is the Ilwaban Way. And the Ilwaban Way is a proselytizing religion, which means it's a little bit better at convincing people to join. So again, the name of the game here for Earl is going to be convincing people to join, so that we are not solo for very long. Again, I've got the helper open because it's been a minute since I played Rimworld, so kind of coming back into it with this challenge. Gotta keep that in mind. Again, we're 6 hours into the first day here. He's chugging along, so let's fast forward just a little bit. We'll put it on 3 times speed and let him kind of knock out some more of this basic bedroom setup. And since he's solo, he's not going to be worried about waking up. Oh, looks like he's reading the schematics. Yeah, Nice. He's reading the notes on brewing, so I believe that gives him a leg up on the brewing technology. Again, that's just something his character happened to have. So we'll see how that works. I guess it basically gives you that technology a little earlier if you read the schematic for it, which is kind of cool. Down here, it looks like we have an ancient nav beacon. So that's another interesting item. Again, I'm not super worried about enemies. We have these insects here, but I'm not going to take them on just yet. I'd like to either get better defensive technology. I think the one thing that Rich Explorer starts with is the gun turret. Yeah, we have air conditioning, gun turrets, and obviously everything that leads up to gun turrets. So that's already researched. So the nice thing is that allows us to build these mini turrets, which are very, very effective in protecting us from sort of the smaller enemies in the game. There we go. He has finished. And you're adding the roof on there. So we have a bedroom for the night. We'll go ahead and assign this bed to Earl. I'll call him Chambers because the game kind of refers to them by last names. So, looking good. And he's coming in to check it out. You know, we might actually create a little bed for her as well. Let's see. Animal bed. Don't have any cloth, so I can make an animal sleeping spot. Or a sleeping box. You know, I might actually make a wooden animal sleeping box. We'll put it in here. Just so Annie's got somewhere to stay in the short term. And again, for the rest of the evening, Chambers is just going to cut some wood and then probably hit the hay. I will customize the schedule a bit more after the first day to add in a little bit of mandatory recreation and mandatory work. If you leave the sort of schedule completely unrestricted, it's not as efficient. But for the first day, I really want to have Chambers kind of do the most. You can also set this as Annie's bed. There we go. So again, these wooden animal sleeping boxes are good for the smaller creatures. And a Yorkshire Terrier is definitely a smaller creature, so that works for us. Again, we're keeping an eye on these insects. They're the main threat to us currently. I have the difficulty set on kind of standard. It's on adventure mode, and we are on Cassandra Classic. Let me actually see if I can show you that here. We go to, I believe, menu, review scenario. Yeah, right there you can see we arrived in drop pods. We started with one person and gun turrets. We got the 300 wood, the 450 steel, and all of our other items that we start with. Mainly that 2,000 silver, 30 gold is a very large benefit. That's kind of the trade-off. Again, I'll speed things up a little bit here for the first evening. Chambers will keep chopping down trees until 22, which is 10 p.m. Then he's going to hit the hay for the night. There we go. And again, the game usually fast forward much quicker through the night while all of your colonists are asleep. I also want to build a roof over my storage area, even if it's not fully enclosed, which I will do that also pretty soon and close it. It just prevents things from kind of going bad. You'll see here the survival meals, even though they won't deteriorate because they're packaged, they will deteriorate for being unroofed and outdoors. So everything that is not sort of protected will deteriorate. So what I'm going to do is actually work on that this day. We will build another structure. And I'm going to pause it temporarily and lay this out. So I'm going to do that. And I also like to set up my doors as I go. Again, I kind of put them in the middle, so it's easier for colonists to walk through. And because this is such a large room, we will need a column to support the roofs, because the roofs I think they're only supported about 6 tiles out. So let's see here. We have that one. Put 4 in just to be safe. So we'll do like that. There we go. So again, maybe a little overkill, but I just like the way it looks. Like any other game where you're building constructions, it's nice to kind of do what looks nice, not just what is essential. And frankly, for this day, I think we're just going to have Earl continue to chop wood and make some constructions. So again, we have some good amount of meals here. We have 36 more survival meals, so we don't need food right away. And our growing season is year-round. That's a big reason why I picked this tile. I wasn't able to scout it ahead of time, but I do know that it was a mountainous tile with year-round growing seasons, so that's why I picked it. Everything else has been kind of a happy surprise. Again, mountainous, you generally have a pretty protected base, but I mean, this is as good as it gets. We can wall this off, create maybe one little kill box funnel, because if you completely wall off an area, then enemies generally destroy the wall. So you want them to actually have somewhere to kind of flow through. But again, that's kill box design. There's tons of videos on that. Looks like chunks of a spacecraft had landed. That's nice. So that we deconstruct these to get more components, which is a really good resource to have. Components are used in everything from, advanced technology to certain guns. I believe gun turrets might take components as well. So anything that's really like technologically advanced. You know what? Did he read that brewing? Oh, I see. So yeah, it's sort of researching without researching. So we're going to have him just fast forward and keep doing this for the day. Getting a roof over our stockpile will be very instrumental moving forward. We'll also need to build a light. They have wall torches now, which is kind of nice. Can I put these on pillars? No. They have to be on walls. So we'll just do the normal torch lamp, and we could put... We'll put them actually basically diagonal to pillars for now. We have a couple of blind spots, but I'm not going to be too concerned with that. As long as we have decent illumination, there's just a little bit of a downside. Also, we can't forget, let's keep an eye on his bio and his needs here, because his sleep is good. Recreation is going to become an issue real quick for Chambers here, especially without any social interaction from people. That's why the pet is very essential, and he's going to help him sort of stay sane. But we also need to look into building some recreational items. In the beginning, all that really means is horseshoes and maybe chests. But we'll do a horseshoe for now. Again, I'm going to keep the area around this geyser kind of open because we will eventually be building a steam geyser on that. I'm going to put the horseshoes right next to his bedroom, just so at night he can enjoy that right before he goes to bed. Let's fast forward through the evening here. And again, I think I might eventually try to tame this tortoise, but I've got a few other items to work on first. His animals could be better. It's only 2 right now, so he can't do a whole lot. But I can start by training Annie here. Click on training. We can train attack. And again, I'm probably not going to use the Yorkie as an attack dog, but just training it will help Chambers' animal ability. Also, putting up these walls and doors should prevent random animals from just walking through my storage area. And look at that, we need defenses. So yes, we will be raided sooner than later. Thankfully, as I said, Chambers has already got a charge rifle equipped and decent shooting ability. Not the best, but decent shooting ability. So should be able to survive the first couple attacks. Again here, building up with the available wood. I kept the order for wood kind of minimal because I don't want him to spend all day chopping trees. Just enough to ideally construct the rest of the storage area. Look at that, doing a little bit of meditating. Again, the religion that we've picked as our sort of starting base, it's not super developed as a religion, but it is sort of an abstract theist religion. Let me see if I can actually show the ideologian here. Spiritualist. It is an abstract theist. So So no physical form, sort of an omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent god. And the culture is Astropolitan, which I believe that's just sort of the style. Noteworthy things here is organ use is acceptable. Everything else is pretty standard. We don't like cannibalism. Guys should wear pants, ladies wear pants and shirt, and we disapprove of slavery. So everything is pretty standard for a colony, except organ use. I made that acceptable because we might need to make some interesting choices as we go along to ensure the survival of Chambers. Until we get some more colonists, you never know what'll happen. But we're going to play fairly safe, and again, his health is pretty nice, 100%, 32 years old, so he's a fairly resilient person as it stands. Look at that, he's working on doing a little training with Annie there. I guess it would be a good time to look into a growing zone. His bio is not bad with plants either, 5 on plant skill. So we will go to Architect, we will set up a growing zone, and again, if we look at our fertilized tab here, the fertility overlay, we got us a nice little chunk of fertile zone. So we're actually going to use this whole area for our first grow zone. 15 by 17. I am going to remove, though, some of the bits that are not as fertile. These yellow bits, just not really worth the effort. However, I am going to expand this right there. Okay, that's good. And then for this one, we will plant probably potato is the safest one to plant for now. It's nice basic food, and that'll keep us fed for a while. And look at that, one door away. Let's set him to chop a few more trees. Again, eventually I will start relearning all these hotkeys, like B to set up a tree chopping zone. But for now, we are going to just let him do his thing. Again, as far as work is considered, all the priorities are the same. So a few things you want to prioritize. Obviously, firefight, you want that to be top priority. Patient and doctor should also be a higher priority. However, I'm not going to change those until we get more colonists, because right now, he's taking care of himself. Speaking of visitors, we have one. A plank cutter from the League of Lurio is visiting the colony. She is named Rarsheo Barnyoga. So this is not a trader. We can't trade to my knowledge. She's just kind of swinging by to visit. But it might be good to chat her up. So we'll wait until she gets a little closer in. Maybe Chambers will strike up a conversation. That's going to help his social, because his needs right now, he's got recreation, because we built our horseshoe pen. He's got food, and he's got shelter. Social is the main thing that he's going to be kind of skimping on. So, you can see here he's uncomfortable in silent environment, but he still has that extremely low expectations because he just landed a day ago. So it looks like he might be going to sleep by the time she actually gets to our area. We'll see. Again, he's roofing up this area. And if you click this little overlay down here, this is the roof visibility, so we can see once this is fully covered up, we're looking a lot better off as a base. Covered storage is good to prevent things from going bad. Yes, he's going to cover up above the walls, and I think he's going to call it a night there, so there's a chance he might actually never talk to Rorscheo, but I'll let him decide that on his own. There's really not much to be done. I don't want to attack a non-hostile neighbor, so we're not going to worry about doing any of that. Not trying to make enemies right now. So we will just sleep through the night, and the visitors are leaving, so that is that. Looks like Earl missed his chance. We have more visitors passing through. See, they are not visiting, though. They are actually just kind of wandering past us. I don't believe we have the ability to interact. There's no traders, so not going to worry about that too much right now. It's nice to know. Again, we had a couple friendly factions nearby on the map. On that note, I can show you some of them now. We have the Wit Butera Civil Outlander Union. They're neutral to us, as well as the League of Ulorio. Those are the ones that have been passing through. They are also neutral. So nobody friendly, 4 different hostile leagues or factions, but the 2 closest to us are actually the purple and the orange. And that was also by design because I didn't really want to be fighting faction battles just yet in the playthrough. I'm a little concerned. This growing zone is pretty close to these insects, so you might have to keep an eye on that and potentially wipe them out at some point. I don't know if the hive generates more. It looks like there might be something going on here. I don't know what that is indicative of. Maybe that's another insect coming out. I do not know, but we'll see. If I see that more are spawning in, I might have to take it upon myself to try to attack. But as soon as I do, they're all going to come out. They all get triggered if they're nearby each other. So keeping that in mind, Chambers is planting his first potato crop. It looks like we might have incidentally trapped this tortoise. I don't know if it can use a door or not. But we'll see. We also might be making turtle soup, if need be. We've got a mad hare. What do you know? A local hare has gone mad. So this is going to attack, which means we need to hunt it because it might attack our beautiful Yorkie Annie down there. So we are going to go straight on, prioritize hunting this hare. This will be a good chance for Earl to try out his charge rifle. Kill it! Oh, okay. We're actually going to draft him, and we will go to melee attack the hare. Yes, and I think it's done. He did take, unfortunately, a bite to the torso, which is very upsetting, considering we had a charge rifle and we still got bit. But what we'll do is undraft him, and he is going to use some medicine. So, 3 medicine allowed, cannot merge, no stack available. Can he... Oh, yeah, we need to create a bed for him to heal in. So we'll change this to a medical bed, and that way he can rest until healed. Does he need... He's bleeding, so he does need to doctor himself. Oh, yeah. We need to allow self-tend. I forgot that earlier. If this is not checked off, he can't tend to himself. And if he can't tend to himself, then he's in trouble because he's the only colonist. So now we can right-click, and we should be able to self-tend. I don't know what he's doing, though. Looks like he's just going to rest. So I guess he's in no immediate danger. It was a small bite. Hopefully that heals up appropriately. Allow medicine. Yeah. I'm allowing the best quality medicine. Oh, there we go. Prioritize tending. So you have to right-click on him. And now he'll go down, grab some of the very fancy Glitter World medicine. Again, this is kind of a waste of Glitter World medicine because you want to keep that usually for much worse ailments. So having said that, I will now click this wild heal root and will harvest all the nearby wild heal root. But again, that's part of the benefit of having the super fancy Glitter World medicine. Is hopefully this wound will be treated fairly well and it won't cause any loss of efficiency. And we're just going to let him rest. He might end up resting through the night. Oh, no, he's fully healed. Look at that. So we click on his health, and the bite has gone away. No scars. It's very good for us. What am I hearing? It sounds like this turtle's eating something. Oh, he's asleep. Okay, well, Earl's going to keep working on planting those crops. The insects are still insecting. Let me keep a count on these. It looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 insects. Okay, so if that number starts increasing, we'll have to make a decision. For some reason, he is sleeping outside. Oh, yeah, that's right. We need to switch the hospital back to a normal bed. Maybe I can draft him. There we go. Let's Check his needs. Again, we really got to keep an eye on the needs of our single colonist here, because if he has any sort of nervous breakdown, we're in trouble. For instance, he needs some recreation, so we're going to actually force him. Oh, you know what? Let's go to the schedule, and we'll add a little recreation on. We'll do 2 hours of recreation at the end of the day. And we'll give him a work schedule from... I usually like to give him a couple hours of free time in the morning. You saw that? We'll do a 10-hour work cycle with 2 hours of free time to do anything. So this could be breakfast or dinner. And then 2 hours of mandatory recreation in the evening. Now, these insects are going to come out and grab food. So if they keep stealing my food, we're going to have a big problem. I might want to look into what does it take to build a gun turret here. A mini turret. Construction needed 5. Need 100 steel and 3 components. We've got the steel, we got the components, so we need the construction ability. This construction is only 2 right now, so fortunately we need him to get a little bit better at construction before we can actually build our gun turret. Okay, keep that in mind. Sheep join. A group of sheep abandoned lost have wandered into the area. They seem accustomed to human contact and are joining the colony. Look at that. Looks like we got 3 sheep that are all self-tamed. Got 2 ewes and a ram, so that is perfect actually for what we need right now. It's a breeding pair. And hopefully they'll kind of randomly wander towards us, but for this we need to build a fenced-in area to keep them so they don't go wandering off. So again, we'll grab the fence. I don't want to make it too close to these insects, so we'll put it over here for the time being. Big enough for at least 3 sheep to enjoy some grass. You don't want to make it totally desolate. It's got to be a kind of a grassy area so there's something to chew on. Also, you need to make a pen marker, otherwise you can't keep any animals appropriately without a pen marker. And some gates so that we can walk through. That will be Chamber's next construction project, which will also be nice. It'll help him level up that construction ability. I'm gonna have him haul these steel to storage. Oh, I don't think I can configure the storage yet. Let me do that. Storage, we need to allow chunks. Oh, maybe not chunks. What about raw resources? Oh, yeah, okay. I'm already allowing steel. So how do I get them to haul this? Let's see. Orders. Haul things. Some items are always haulable. Can't be designated. Okay, well. I guess it's always haulable then. I don't know. That's a little weird the way they have that phrased. So again, we're making a priority to build this pen because if we wait too long, our self-domesticated sheep could just wander off the map, or they could be killed by a local predator. Thankfully, I don't think we have any of the predators other than insects right now. Sometimes there's a bear or a cougar or something like that that could really wreak havoc on your livestock, so you got to keep that in mind. Let's see. He's reading the brewery notes on his free time. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Looks like it's still 5 insects. Keeping my eyes on those. I do think this turtle is stuck inside of my storage. Doesn't seem to be able to open a door on its own. It could sneak out, though, when Annie comes in or out of the door. Otherwise, we have a sort of a pet turtle just hanging out in our storage room. Which I'm not too worried about. I don't think it's going to eat any of our food. I think it just kind of grazes on grass. So we should be okay there. And here we can see Earl building away. Pause this for a second. We just had the announcement of a raid from the Banabandoa tribe. group of tribespeople have arrived. Luckily, the group is just one, and he has a steel club, so this is Fox. Here's what we want to do, though, because we are desperate for colonists. I'm not necessarily looking to kill everyone that comes to our area. First, we check the health. He is perfectly healthy. We check the needs. Nothing really that crazy, to be honest. I think he might be currently nude, except for the head wrap. We check the bio. Teetotaler and a slow learner, but otherwise a herder and a warrior, which are two great attributes to have. Not very social, but that's okay. Really good at shooting and melee. Construction. A little passion for construction. This could be a great addition to our colony. So, what I like to do in this situation is we are now changing our bed, yet again, to a prison. So what we can do is click this and click for prisoners. We're going to click chambers. We're going to go ahead and draft them. And we know that Fox here is going to have to go all the way around through this bottleneck in order to access our base. So we're going to have chambers move up right about here. Hopefully he'll arrive before Fox does. Again, I'm going to slow time down to normal speed. So we're going to want to figure this out. Again, the charge rifle is going to do some serious damage, but ideally we don't kill Fox outright. We can capture him as a prisoner, nurse him back to health, and ideally convince him to join our colony. Again, he's coming around the bend here. I paused it temporarily. Chambers is set up in a decent shooting position. Fox is probably going to make his way along this wall. He could use some of these trees or the rocks as cover, but otherwise he's pretty much open to shots. There goes. I'm going to check his health here. Gunshot to the right leg. That'll slow him down. Oh, right leg, left leg, and torso gunshots. And that's a knockdown. We got more gunshots to the torso. He's going to die in 5 hours if we do nothing. So the first thing we're going to do is... Ooh, pemmican. That's actually nice for traveling. Let's see. Yeah, we need to click on chambers. I'm going to press R to undraft him, but before we unpause the game, we will capture Fox. And now what I need to do is also, I can set this as a medical prisoner bed. I have to right-click on him again. We can capture him. He should take him to that medical prisoner bed. And then we can use, unfortunately, we will have to use some of our Glitterworld medicine because the wounds are so severe. There's a good chance he's going to bleed out otherwise. Again, he's got 5 hours till he's done. But if we treat him effectively, then we have a healthy prisoner which we can hopefully convince to join our cause. Speed this up just a little bit. Again, I'm looking at his health right now. Looks like Chambers is immediately going to tend to him. I'm going to click Fox and allow the best quality medicine. So Chambers will finish whatever he's doing now. And then hopefully I can click prioritize tending to. There we go. So now he's going to go get better medicine. So that first one was just a really rough job on the right leg. But now he's using the Glitterworld medicine, which should treat him much more effectively. And again, you don't really want to use your Glitterworld medicine on prisoners. That's generally why it's considered to be a waste. However, you can see that it's a higher quality bandage job. Sometimes it doesn't show up. Yeah, I see there the sutured quality 47, quality 21. So this gives him a better chance at survival, essentially. So again, we have 2 more gunshot wounds to take care of on the torso. Now what Chambers is going to have to do is basically build a new bed. Also, I'm going to unassign this as Annie's bed, because I don't want Annie staying in there with a prisoner. Not sure what the prisoner might do. Also, we can now click on the prisoner tab on Fox's profile here. And we can click onto recruit. So what this does is we'll lower the resistance, and when the resistance gets to 0, we can then attempt to recruit that particular prisoner. As far as health goes, completely bandaged up at this point. So now it's only a matter of time to see how these heal and whether or not they leave scars or permanent damage. But for now, Chambers is going to go for a walk. It looks like he's just kind of hanging out. So we will set up another room. We want to build another structure to sleep in. Wooden walls. I want to maintain some of our usage of this. So what we'll do is go here. It's going to be a smaller room, but it should work for now. Again, the game defaults to whatever materials available. We don't technically have wood in storage, but I do want this to be built out of wood, so we'll do that for now. You can also copy items by clicking on them. And again, we're going to build a copy of this bed. This bed, we'll figure that out when it's built. And floors, you just go into Architect and click on Floors. But Earl has had a rough day. He needs a little sleep, he needs a little food, but we'll let him dictate what he does for the rest of the evening. Again, Annie's sleeping in the bed anyways, that's fine. I am actually going to have him clean the cell. Cleaner areas make for better healing, less likely for wounds to become infected. Then he can go back to his regularly scheduled meal. And there we go. We've got some crops in the ground. We've got a partial fenced-in area. We have some self-domesticated sheep that are hopefully still in the vicinity. At least 2 of them are. One may have walked away. Oh no. I think we've got 3 sheep. Cool. So the next day we will build our second bedroom. We will finish our pasture. And hopefully we can have enough time to collect our sheep. Again, keep an eye on your colonist's needs. Got a carver swinging by. His name is Red. He's just passing through, though. We're not going to worry about him. Alright, we should be waking up any minute now. And look at that, he's feeding Fox. If you don't have somebody set to feed your prisoners, they will eventually starve, so keep that in mind. Fox can now walk. That's a good sign. Starting to regain basic motor function. The resistance lowered by 0.9, so again, that's because Chambers is a decent social skill. That will be very crucial in expanding our colony and getting more colonists to join. Also, more people to join our religion. U2 has started to roam away. She'll leave the map unless we rope her back to a pen. It looks like Earl is aware of this and is headed to U2. There we go. Balram U. So, the pasture's incomplete. Let's see here. If we click on animals, it allows all animals. So, something. Let's go ahead and prioritize this. Yes. Oh, missing wood. Okay. So she's going to keep roaming her way. He's going to have to keep kind of grabbing her occasionally. There is sort of a hack you could do that I'm not going to really stress about right now, but you could basically set up a caravan. That way you can sort of tie all the animals to a fence, but not too worried about that right now. Let's prioritize harvesting some of these poplars for the wood, so that we can then take care of Fox. That's okay. Again, it's good to kind of combine feeding the prisoner and also chatting them up, convincing them to join our colony. I'm not going to be too stressed out if the sheep start wandering off. They were kind of a gift anyways. That's another day, so not the most productive day to be honest. Planted a few potatoes, cut down like 1 tree, took care of the prisoner. Again, things are tricky when you've only got the 1 colonist. You really gotta sort of pace yourself. That's why the more the merrier, and the sooner the better. Also, Annie is eating these whole package meals, which is not ideal. Transport pod crash. Hold on. Scout name Gia Gia is crashing in a transport pod nearby. If she survives the impact, she will be badly wounded. Gia Gia is from our enemy, the Deadly Faction. Let's see. She is down, but she is alive, although she will die very soon. So what do we do in this case? I don't even think we can get her back to a bed to heal. So what we'll do after Chambers is done feeding Fox, you know what, before then actually, we're going to go ahead and pick up Glitteral Medicine. We will pick up 3. Gia has 3 major injuries that are bleeding out. We can click on Architect, go to Furniture, and actually set a sleeping spot right next to Gia. Clicking on this, we can set it for prisoners, which unfortunately it has to be an enclosed space, but we can set it as medical. And hopefully, we cannot capture, we cannot strip. This is not looking good. We might be losing this particular person here. The only way that we could capture Gia is by putting a bed in enclosed. We could put another bed in here. So let's do that. We'll do a sleeping spot in the prison cell. We'll set that for medical. And now we can take the Glitter World Medicine and right-click Gia and we can capture her. And we'll see if this works in time. Again, her health is very, very poor. This is going to be close if we get it at all. Death in 2 hours. Death in 1 hour. I don't think she's going to make it. We'll see. 6, 5, 4, 3. Critical alert. Okay, is he doing anything? He's tending. Alright, well, we'll see if this works. Fortunately, I don't think it's going to work, so we are going to have a dead enemy. Sadly, our best bet here is to strip. And when she perishes, we will go basically move that outside. Okay, we will go ahead and set up a spot to bury her. The reason I stripped her right before she passed is because now we can use these items. If somebody dies while wearing an item, it is considered tainted. And nobody really wants to wear a dead guy's pants. So let's look at furniture. I believe there should be at least a burial spot that we can build. Maybe it is miscellaneous. Grave, yes. So we will have to build our first grave of the game. Now these you obviously don't want taking up like fertile or usable land, but you don't want them to be too far from your base because colonists will occasionally go by the graveyard to sort of memorialize the deceased. So he's going to prioritize working on the grave, and we will go bury Gia here. There we go. I guess we'll let him eat lunch first. We're dealing with this gross. And then he is now, let's prioritize burying. Because again, you don't want a dead body in any room, but especially not in a room where somebody is being medically treated. Okay, that's done. Now Chambers is going to take care of Fox again. And again, that is a light leather parka, so I believe that might be better quality than the cloth pants or the cloth shirt. There we go. We at least have a bed that we can now set for ourselves. Getting more of that wood. He's going to have to chop some more wood. He's going to talk to Fox again. Again, it's a little bit of a time suck to talk to the prisoner this much, but we desperately need the manpower, so that is our priority at this moment. Okay, loaded 0.8. Not too bad. You know what? Let's focus on the wood for now. You can hold shift to sort of prioritize a series of tasks. good. We'll chop down these 3 other trees, which can then be used to complete this bedroom. I'd like to do it before the end of the day. Beggars can't be choosers. The needs are hanging in there. Could be a little bit better off, but not the worst. So unfortunately, yeah, this innocent prisoner dying. Now, it is a warring faction. Still, technically considered innocent to us. So that does have a pretty rough negative debuff on our character. Lasting for about a week. So that's unfortunate. Thankfully, we still have these low expectations, so we're able to handle it. Making progress. It looks like we're going to lower this resistance by about 1.5 a day. Which means hopefully within 4 or 5 days, Fox will be a member of the team. Keeping an eye on the health. Recovering fairly well. Still not sure if these are going to evolve into scars or permanent tissue damage, but we will see when that comes. Looks good. Working on this pasture fence. Okay. Zipping through the night here. After breakfast, actually before that, we're going to prioritize cleaning this blood up again. We'll just clean the whole prison barracks. There we go. No longer inspired. Oh, we never got a chance to use that inspired trait ability. That's unfortunate. Didn't have a trader come by. Almost done with the pasture. Again, we will clean up more of this after we talk to Fox. Just the blood, though. That's all I really care about currently. Because, again, until you build wooden floors or carpets or something of that nature, the dirt will just be dirty. That's how dirt works. And there we go. So now he will proceed. It looks like one of these ewes just kind of wandered all the way into her pen, which is great. So now we have our 3 sheep in their proper pen. You can also see here the nutrition consumption versus growth. So this tells us that 1.72 is being grown, and they're only consuming 1.53. So that is right on the money. We do have this turkey, though, who we can either tame or hunt. Let's see, that's a female. This is a male turkey. We could start breeding turkeys. If we create another pasture, that would probably be a smart idea. Let's look into that. I'm not going to go crazy with ranching, but it would be the worst idea to maybe have some turkeys that we can kill when necessary, but also sell. The opportunity presents itself. And then here we are going to build wooden fence gates. Again, I'm kind of lining it up with the door. That way we don't have to take crazy sort of shifts of our route. And again, by building multiple pens, I'll be able to decide what goes in where. So I can say this pen is only for sheep, this pen is only for turkeys, and so on. Insects are still kind of chilling, which is good. Fox continues to be whittled away on. He is down to a simple gunshot wound on the right leg. Again, this is probably the worst quality bandage that we have. But I believe his resistance is very low, 4.5, so fully healed now. The only problem there is that he's got extremely low, his mood might be high enough to make an attempt at escaping, so we'll keep that in mind. Looks like he put on all the clothes that had dropped on the floor from our other prisoner, so that's a little ironic. It seems like the sheep are eating the wild heel root plants, which doesn't bother me too much. Let's see what happens here with the negotiations. 4.5 to 3. Okay, so now these beds are technically marked as medical, so I need to click off of medical. Now I can use that to assign for the prisoner. So Fox will be able to sleep, because Fox, once healed, will not sleep in a medical-focused prison bed. If that makes sense. Let me peek around the map for a minute here while I speed things up a bit. During the day, the Muffalo are still chilling out here. Got a nice little herd of horses, some turkeys. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. We'll let the sheep do their thing. I don't know if I can tame the turkeys or not yet, but we're also going to set another order to chop all these trees. All the trees and this one. Again, you don't want to cut plants, because that will remove everything. The heel root, the grass, the blueberry bushes. So you want to keep those. So just chop wood for the time being. We will harvest the rest of the berries, because we're getting low on our food. Also, it is high past time that I make a kitchen, so we can start cooking up these potatoes into a viable food source. My other problem is that when these potatoes start coming to the end of their growth phase, we're going to have all these insects coming out and trying to eat them before we can harvest them. So that's something else to keep in mind. I will want to build a research station and a kitchen. Probably start with a kitchen first. So how do we do that? Well, we can build a separate building here. You want to build a small room to use for refrigerating your food. And then I usually put the kitchen right next to it. That way we don't let all the cool air out. Let's do a door here. And again, you only really want one entrance to their fridge. If you put a bunch of doors on the outside, just like any other fridge, it's going to let all the cool air out. So don't do that. Let's see, structure, we can go to temperature. Before we get electricity for the coolers, we can use this passive cooler. And what I do is usually build 2 of them. So that'll ice down all of our product. On that note, we're actually going to change this. So instead of a door here, that's going to be a wall. We'll build a full wall there and a wooden door down here. So this way you have to walk through the kitchen to get to the cooler, where we'll put our raw potato product. Kitchen here. We can go to production, and we want to put our fueled stove. And this again will be used to cook food. It helps if you have a chair. Gotta make sure it's made out of wood. I'm gonna click this actually to make sure this is made out of... See, no, I don't want to build that out of steel. If I can avoid it. Oh, I think I have to, though. Yeah, the fueled stove, steel is required. So we'll do that for now. And, of course, you need a light to see. So we'll go back to here. We'll pop down our torch and one in the fridge. And once this is all built out, can't forget our floors. This is all built out. I'll explain how I set up the stockpile zone here. Now again, with 1 colonist, hopefully 2 sooner than later, it should be pretty easy to maintain a decent level of food. That's also why I haven't really worried so much about building up our supplies, because we can still harvest these berry bushes and eat those. But we're better off cooking up harvested crops, and eventually we'll start harvesting some of these animals. Then the day begins. We have low food. There we go. Sure enough. Chambers is talking to Fox. Ooh, the resistance is almost to 0. It's at 0.3 now. So hopefully, by the end of the day today, Chambers will be able to convince Fox to join our cause. Again, Chambers is probably focused more on the kitchen and fridge than this extra pasture. This is sort of a pet project. Pun intended. Pets being turkeys. So we have a little skeleton. That's the hare that we killed. Again, if I had a butcher spot set up, we could have butchered the hare and got some free meat out of it, but what are you going to say? Right there, Prisoner Fox's resistance has been broken. So now, the recruiting attempts will begin in earnest. Not a moment too soon either. It's starting to look a little dicey around the colony. We're running out of some of our starting materials, so what do you know? Also, all that grass, everything inside here is now dying out, because this has been indoors for so long. Which means our turtle is probably going to be pretty hungry sooner than later. Oh, planting more potatoes. I'm not going to stop him for now, because we will need. Oh, see, there you go. That might. You know what? I'm gonna have him consume those berries so that we don't tempt these insects. Last time they came out of their cave was for those delicious berries. And again, the passive coolers, you don't really set anything. They consume wood and through some sort of endothermic process naturally cool down the room that they're inside. I'm not 100% how that actually works, but, you know, it does. One packaged meal left, and then we are officially out of our pre-packaged survival meals. And we are then making food on our own, so thankfully the potatoes are coming in pretty quickly. Fox will hopefully join sooner than later with his various skills, animals, crafting, construction, but definitely we need these two, shooting and melee, so that we can defend our colony. Sleeping through the night yet again. Pause here for a moment. Come on. No, the dog's eating the meal. Stop, Annie. That's our last... Well, what do you know? The dog ate it. Okay, our last package survival meal has gone to the dog. Guess there are worse ways to use our survival food. And look at that! Fox has joined the community. Let's check Fox's needs, because suddenly he is now part of the crew. We need to keep a very close eye so that he does not get upset too quickly. Looks like he'll be here for a while. Fox thinks you should give your faction a name. What should we call it? Landbrand Union and our settlement of Findamon. Why not? This is the Findamon community in the Landbrand Union. It's official, and now we've got 2 survivors. So, best way to handle this is we will deconstruct that sleeping spot, and we will now set this to a colonist bed. And why not? We'll give this to Fox. So now we have 2 colonists. We can actually go to the work and start doing some specifics here. We want to designate certain workflows. Unfortunately, Fox does have a few will not do's. So, he is not going to do anything medical. No, I guess he can. It's not a dash. A dash means they cannot do it. 0 just means they're terrible at doing it. So, let's see. Again, we want them to firefight first, always to stop fires. Patients should be top priority as well. Chambers will be our #1 doctor, just because nobody else is. He's also the warden. He will also be in charge of anything social related. Hunting, however, will be done by Fox. He will also be our animal handler and our builder. Chambers will grow, he will mine, he will cut plants. And again, the rest of these I might leave as are. Okay. Now we need another weapon for Fox to use. Chambers is not the best shooter. Fox is really good. If I recall, his shooting is 8. Yes. So we will actually go ahead and unequip this charge rifle. And we'll have Fox equip it. Now he's locked and loaded. Ready to go. Chambers can focus on more peaceful and diplomatic solutions to problems. Fox here is already doing his duty cleaning things up. let's double check here. Okay, I'm gonna make it a low priority, but he will be able to actually grow, plant cut, mine, cooking. You know what? They're both terrible at cooking, so he will be our preferred cook. And again, he can technically doctor it if necessary. Now, the issue with cooking is if you have a very, very low skill in it, you're more likely to create food poisoning in the meals that you cook. So I'll have to keep that in mind. We really want to get another survivor who has a high cook skill. That's going to be our next focus in this particular mission. But for now, that is 12 days. We have had 11 days pass since our arrival. We have 2 colonists, 3 sheep, working on our second pasture here, a nice little crop of potatoes, and we're working on our first kitchen and cooler combination. That's going to do it for our first episode here on our Rimworld Rich Explorer playthrough. If you've made it this far in the video, please feel free to like and subscribe to keep up with our adventures in Rimworld. And until next time, this has been Tallidus Plays.